Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Is Dunder Moose. I have got the inimitable Chubby Funster. You may know him from Warlords of Gavardia. You may know him from the mithril best-selling Shadow Dark GM's Companion on Drive-Thru RPG. But you probably know him from either Twitter or from like just the absolute fire you've been dropping on YouTube lately, man. I feel like your channel, I don't know how old your channel is, but I feel like just like this year, maybe like at the end of last year, you just flipped a switch and started really thoughtfully breaking down modules and talking about like the nuts and bolts of how this hobby works and stuff. So I really like it quickly became my favorite YouTube channel. Just
I
because
appreciate it. You made a comment like that like early on, and I was like, "Awesome, I'm killing it."
dude, you were. I feel like every time I watch one, I either learn something or I look at something I thought I knew from a different angle or something. So if you guys aren't in on it, is it the same as your YouTube? Is it at Chubby Funster GC or?
Yeah. I actually don't know exactly. It might be some Chubby Funster GC. It might be just Chubby Funster. I haven't memorized the link.
All right, yeah. I always have to look.
There's no other Chubby Funster YouTube channel killing it.
Yeah, just make sure you spell it right, because who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, you don't want
what might come up.
Stuff. Yeah.
You don't want to look at that Chubby Chunster stuff.
You're right. Like back in like our October of last year, I'd been running Gods of Forbidden North with OSC for a while, and it was really, really good. And I don't normally do reviews of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to like really explain why I think this thing is awesome, because and my personally, sorry, Malachi's out there. So if on my own personal journey, right, I am trying to make the best possible thing, and Gods of Forbidden North was like the closest thing I've ever gotten to like seeing, like held it in my hand, like this is really close.
So it was inspirational.
Yeah, and I was like, I gotta like break this down. So I came from an academic background before I abandoned it. That's a long story, but it's about politics. So I will not be talking about it on here. But I was like, I got to write this review. So I broke down like all the things that I thought were really awesome about Gods of Forbidden North. And all of my videos end up being this way in the end. Like it's about me organizing the way that I think about a particular thing so I can put it to bed. That's how I work psychologically.
So publishing, I mean, just to touch on the theme of this episode, publishing your thoughts is how you complete your thinking process, is with a pen in your head.
It's like, how many times have you heard somebody say, like, if you're mad about something, like write it down in a letter and then just don't send the letter. Just by writing it down, you'll force yourself to focus and figure out what you really think about a particular thing.
Well, I feel like there's certain thoughts that can cycle. Like you can say the same thing to yourself over and over again in your head. And the act of writing it down, even if it wasn't expressed, even if the person, didn't read it, it helps quiet that cycle because it feels like it's expressed, right?
Yep. Like your brain processes it. Yeah. Sorry, your trumpet. No,
your trumpet says, come on, talk about politics.
But so I started doing it, and then I was like, okay, let's start going through other modules and breaking down exactly like what it is that's good or bad about this module. And so like I went through some classic stuff like King's Festival, where I was like, this is kind of it really is. I mean, it seems like it's weird, like it's a number out of nowhere in the series, but King's Festival is after they've had time to really figure out a lot of the things about how to write modules. So for a long time, they had all sorts of weird things going on. Like you can't just start with B1, B2, because that was their first time doing that, right? Mm-hmm. But by the time you get to like King's Festival, they they've got a pattern. They're developing a thing. So I was like, this is one I wanted to pick where there's nothing I'm going to criticize. It's going to be like, well, they just started. They didn't know what they were doing. Like, we're good in, and it's not like I hammered it or anything. And I went through, like, by one of my favorite parts is, like, if you're standing at this intersection in the dungeon, the players don't know whether going left or going north will, I should have said consistency there, left or up or west or north. Sorry. They have no way of knowing because the light radius is shorter than the distance to the intersection.
Yeah.
So when you're reading it, it looks to you like you can see everything, but that's when I started putting like light radiuses around the token. Like, you can't see to the end of that hall. So if somebody's actually playing this, not reading it, they don't know that goes that direction and that goes the other direction. And so I started like looking at things like that, and then people would ask me all kinds of questions in the comments and stuff, and I would start thinking about it. And then lately I've been trying to codify things into more general theory and be like, this is how it actually works at the table doing this thing. Not just how it hypothetically should work. And how do you know what you think until you see it in writing? I do, but it's kind of like, this is a good example, right? You could, if you were upset. Thank you, Air Trumpet, for the $5 for Dunda. That's awesome. You could, if you were an idiot, as soon as your wife told you she was upset, you just started saying anything that came to fucking mind, right? But that is a bad idea. You should not do that. You should wait until you figured out what you want to say and then deploy your statement, right? Am I wrong, Thunder, or what?
Yeah, no, that is wisdom. Yeah. The man speaks wisdom, and it sounds like it may have been hard-won advice.
I am in my second marriage.
All right, for just a second, I want to do this. Let's both just put our hats in the camera. You guys got to check out how awesome this is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dunder Moose and Chubby Funster. We got hats, bro. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. So you've taken this like thoughtful approach, and you have not quit thinking. You find that you enjoy it, and you were on Yang Yanzhao's show a couple days ago, and I happened to be on my phone, and I saw that it was on, and I jumped in. And I kind of grabbed the reins a little bit. Sorry, Young, I asked a question. I did my interviewer thing. And just because I thought, well, these guys are both creators. You both make modules. You both make things. He had the Kickstarter. You got one coming up. And so I just asked what I thought was an innocent little question. I said, do you guys just make what's in your heart? Or are you consciously trying to please your audience? And you had a really good answer for that. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. Either he's going to have to retell it on my show, or you guys are going to have to go back and watch it. But that one little question.
This was just my snap answer, which is that I have tons of thoughts all the time. That's all that happens in my brain is tons and tons of thoughts. And if I have something I want to actually do at the table, I will just write it down and do it at the table. Right? That's not a problem. If I'm going to put the time in to make it really nice and get it ready to publish, then I want it to be something I think will be worth that time. So I don't like there might be some project that I want to do personally. I can do it personally, just like anybody who's not publishing books. They are still coming up to stuff as a GM and putting it into practice. But if you're going to sit down and make a 250-page document, like you need to really get some return on that. And I can't tell you how many thousands of products there are on drive-through of somebody who just did that. Like they put together something that's not going to be commercially viable, and it just doesn't work.
It just got inspired and just kind of they're contributing to the signal to noise ratio problem.
And I'm not really, I don't really consider myself immune to this. I published Ambition and Avarice and Ambition and Avarice 2, and they've sold probably less than a 1,000 between them. No, wait, there's probably 1,000 for one, maybe close to, and then it's right about 1,000 because there's only like 250, 300 on the second one. And I wrote those when I didn't have a marketing presence, when I didn't know as much about what I'm doing as I do now. Yeah, everybody starts out with as unskilled, at whatever it is.
And it's okay to be where you are when you're starting, just so for if people are in that stage. But
yeah,
the marketing is one thing, and then also your brand, right? Like, how do you want to be known?
Yeah,
do you want slipshod stuff out there, or do you want it to be that worth that investment?
Change stuff. I had a dungeon called the Sunless Fane that I had put out right when Shadow Dark launched, and it was just a quick conversion of a one-page dungeon that people were hungry for Shadow Dark dungeons, so I did it. And I went back recently, like maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, I'm going to go through and just really like revamp this whole thing based on what I've learned now.
Yeah.
And now I think it's fire. I think it's really good. So like but the longer you go after you make something, you start to look back and be like, this is really not so good.
Was the game the first thing you published?
No, the very first thing I published was I can't even remember the name of it now, but it was a proof of concept. I think I put it up for like $1 just to get because you have to have something selling for money to get a publisher account.
That's right.
So it was like a $1 module, and it was a proof of concept where it was a PDF with hyperlinks built into the dungeon map itself. So it was non-linear. So like you would be on page 25 and you would be seeing room number 8 or whatever. And then if you pressed a hallway, it would jump you back to that hallway on room 12.
That's pretty cool.
You press the boss's room and it would jump you way forward. And so like to you, it seemed like you were using like an app almost, because it's just hyperlinks are so fast. Internal hyperlinks are instantaneous. So it seemed like you were just like hyperlinking around this dungeon. That was the very first thing, but Ambition and Avarice was the first thing that I was like, I think I really have a cool thing that I wrote down.
Yeah.
Not just like a technical proof of concept. And I put it out there, and it was at the time successful from my standpoint. But looking back now, I mean, no, it was not. It was not successful though. But yeah, the kind of thing that I thought was cool was having, this was inspired by Alexander McCree's Acts 1 of having, if they're both Electrum, then it's under 1,000 total, because you got to get 500 to get gold. So there's no way if they're both still Electrums, it's under. But Alexander Macris had these, or Macris. I always want to say Macris.
Is it because of the Robotech show?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Macris saga.
I try. But he would have these notations of like 13 plus, 12 plus, whatever, as part of acts. He rolled better than that. And then the way he did the saving throws was similar to that. And I was like, okay, what if you made all of the dungeon skills that way? And I called them dungeon throws. And so you would roll skill checks that way. But it was a freaking fantasy heartbreaker, man. I mean, like, it was my earliest work.
It's a rite of passage, I feel.
Yeah, but you have to get through that. The first pot you ever make on the potter's wheel is not going to be awesome. It's going to look like it's going to be broken and bent to the stick over.
Chamber pot.
Yeah, and then your parents will keep it for a long time.
Yep. Put it on the fridge.
That's right.
Right on. All right. So that was your go-to answer. I always have a lot of ideas. I'm not suffering a shortage of ideas, but if I'm going to go through all the work to put out something that I'm proud of, that is going to be an investment, not just in money, but in time and effort and focus. So how do you gauge what is going to be worth that versus what's just a little passion project?
Well, I try to think out as far in advance as possible, because otherwise you just end up creating half completed things that you give up on.
Mm.
And
I
that's
have a
still
lot
going
of
to happen.
experience with that.
Yeah, that's still going to happen. But so like just this weekend, I had to drive down. I moved to North Carolina. I had to drive back to Atlanta and get one last load of stuff in my van. And we'd left it behind for complicated reasons. So it was going to be a whole day, 7 hours down at least, 7 hours back at least. I spent a bunch of time thinking about our conversation. And then when I got back, I sent you the notes that I had taken on my phone. And then I also spent a ton of time thinking about Curse of Strahd. That was involuntary. I didn't want to. The reason is that...
Well, that was your most recent video that got posted.
Yeah,
was your pre-writing video, and I recommend you guys all watch that.
So I did a 10-part YouTube analysis of Curse of Strahd, and it's basically a object lesson in how to not plan out what you're going to do. I mean, like it is terribly, terribly managed and designed from like the individual people who worked on it. I don't even fault them, because they were like given like, write this page about this particular dude, you know, and so they did that. That's not on them, but the person who was planning how to do all that stuff, yes, that person did not do a good job, and or that constellation of people did not do a good job, because the main conclusion of the analysis was that it's all disconnected silos of information that don't even talk to each other. And my favorite instance of this is that the were-ravens, which can fly, are not in communication with each other. It's insane. Okay. So I'm like, okay, that's nuts. Okay. So I went to North Texas a couple weekends ago, and I had a whole bunch of people come up to me and talk to me about this Curse of Strahd series and how much they liked how they ran Curse of Strahd, because it's like the most popular 5e.
Yeah.
Like, so they came to me and they talked about all these things about Curse of Strahd. So then that triggered even more thoughts about how, if you know, why is this thing wrong? The map is broken. It doesn't make sense. Here's a pro tip for all the mappers out there. If you have two mountains next to a lake, the lake will not be draining between the mountains. It will go the other direction, away from the mountains. Okay. So, yes.
Percival says, Chubby's Curse of Strahd videos were eye-opening. Shocking people ever thought that was the best 5e adventure.
It still is considered like there's...
Well, it is. And it's everybody told me, oh, this is a brilliant sandbox.
That's what I heard.
When I was trying, you know, when I was first getting into D&D, and like 5e was there, and they said this is the best sandbox, and I opened it and I was like, so you shoehorn them into this place they can't leave because the mist will close anytime they try to. And I'm like, sandbox?
That's right.
That's some pretty railroady.
Watch the video from earlier this week, or it's just yesterday now, I think.
Yeah.
I make the video a few days before it goes out. So like, it was like, oh my God, this there has to be a way. So I made a way out. You can find out by watching that video. There's a way out. It's
there
tough.
has to be a way out. I loved how the Funster slowly descended into madness in that Strahd series. You know what I felt when I first watched the first Strahd series you did? It kind of felt the same for those of us of a certain age who watched the Phantom Menace and were unsettled.
Yep.
And we knew it wasn't good, but we couldn't quite put our finger on it. And then that Red Letter Media video
killed it.
They came out and they just basically laid bare all of the writing sins with the dialogue and characterization and stuff. That brilliant scene where they asked everybody, okay, without telling me what they look like or what their job is, describe these characters. And all of the original cast, they immediately had a ton of stuff. And then all of the new ones, they were like, Stoic.
Stoic, yeah. Stoic.
That's what your Curse of Strahd video was like, because I was like, I know I'm supposed to like this, and
That's
I still feel
honor.
like
Thank you.
I feel like it's cool, but like when you started breaking it down, I was like, yes, that is why it. And there is a tension in the mind of the DM, especially with a popular module that a lot of people have played, where you're wondering, can I live up to the episode? Can I give my players the quintessential Curse of Strahd experience? How much of my brain am I going to have to give over to this book so I don't forget all these convoluted, hidden connections?
And it's not organized properly to do any. Yeah, there's no summaries at the start of each chapter that are effective. Like there are, but they're not effective. They don't have bullet lists of like, these are the 5 things you need to remember during this dungeon, whatever. Like anything like this, it's terrible.
Well, and then this might also be, this might be divisive. The next thing I'm about to say.
Bring it. Let's do it.
I don't think 5e is a good system for that particular story. I wanted to play it with my in-person buddies, and they wanted to be an Aarakocra and a Turtle and a Dragonborn. And I'm just picturing the dinner scene with Strahd. Like they're all sitting around this posh table, and you've just got all these lizard mouths. Just like I'm like, the eating noises alone are gonna wreck.
Well, if I write it, it'll be for either Shadowdark or like an OSE type system.
Because it's like okay, I got an idea. All right, picture this.
No
Nosferatu, but with the Ninja Turtles in it. What do you guys think? Cowabunga! Oh, that guy's scary. A fellow chucker. Just wrecks it for me. Sorry.
The reason why I brought up this is all that stuff is involuntary.
Yeah.
I have all these thoughts about Curse of Strahd. I can't stop it. And at a certain point, you go like, I've criticized, like it started with the map. I've criticized this thing enough that like I need to actually show people like, this is how the map would work. It doesn't like based on hydrology. This is not like so
gravity.
Yeah. So
water flows downhill.
I put together like, this is how I think it would work. And then after I made the map, that didn't stop the thing. Like I just kept having, well, now that you have the, like, what's going to go down in this thing? Like there's Vistani Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Vistani Turtles movie guy just.
So like right next to the village of Barovia in the Curse of Strahd map, there's this awesome, it's done by Mike Schley. It looks fantastic. This awesome,
all of his stuff is gorgeous.
Swampy, like the river starts to kind of break up as it comes out of the mountain, and it looks really, really great. And of course, they did absolutely nothing with that, right? There's nothing out there. There's no encounters even. There's no swamp-based monster. There's no swamp terrain acknowledged in the whole place except for right around Baba Yaga's hut. Yeah, the only time they even talk about a swamp is right around Baba Yaga's hut. So it's like, okay, I mean, just think about this. You're conceivably, since you can't leave, you're spending your entire campaign from 1st to 20th level to kill Strahd, and you have 2 encounter tables, a daytime encounter table and a nighttime encounter table. Like, how fucking boring is that going to get? Like, oh my god,
wolves again.
So I'm like, we got to come up with some more. So I come up with types of terrain that I was like, okay, so you could have terrain types that vary by elevation. So like you have kind of like the moors level that you go up like one kind of terrain modifier. Then you kind of can go up even further up as you're moving up these mountains and have multiple terrain types, so that like the monsters and the stuff is changing as you get higher elevation.
Vampire yetis.
Yeah. And then I created a swamp terrain, which to actually use, and stuff like that. So I just keep having these thoughts, right? But we're right at that moment where it's like, if I was going to publish this, I need to make the decision. Like, is this something I want to pursue? Because the next step is setting up the trade dress, deciding on the system, which it's kind of the same thing. If you're going to do Shadow Arc, you need to have a particular trade dress. If you're going to do OSC, you need to have the trade dresses matched to that. So you come up with that, and then begin actually sketching out I need to have a chapter that does this. Like one of the great things about doing Curse of Strahd would be that you don't have to come up with any kind of class or racial support. Like Dolmenwood has all these new races and all these classes and stuff. You don't do any of that. Fatty. But you have to do all this stuff. You wouldn't have to do that. So you wouldn't need chapters on how to do it, which is a lot of my Shadow Arc setting work is races and spells and classes and all that kind of stuff. And then coming up with, so you need to plan that out, and then you'd need to begin, because this was one of the things that I brought up in the Curse of Strahd thing, is that they only use the tarot deck for one thing. They have,
wait, two. You can use it to prep, but then if they come across it, you got to throw away your prep and use it.
That's right.
Again.
You have to throw away your. You're one of the only people who noticed that aside from me. I noticed that also. That is ridiculous. But yes, so in the videos I had tons of examples of ways that they could use this fucking deck, right? But if you were gonna design the deck to be integrated with the thing, which this is why they didn't, why they only had one thing for it, is you'd have to decide early on at the highest level, like I need to have a random encounter for every single one of these cards. How am I going to organize that? It's a 52, so it's not a dice number. How am I going to come up with, is it going to be tied to terrain in any way? Is there going to be like, you can pull a forest tarot and get it, and then you mount it to, like, how is it going to work? You'd have to design all that at the top. And then move it down, and you can tell that's why it sucks, is they didn't do that. So nothing is worked from the top. But all that work, that's a substantial amount of work, especially doing all the trade dress from a layout perspective, deciding on all that stuff. Then you have to start writing writing the book, all kinds of stuff like that. So for me, it's like, is that viable, or is this just a thought exercise? I don't mind spending some time doing it as a thought exercise. And
sounds like you would be comfortable with this remaining a thought exercise, but every time you turn around, it keeps tugging on your pant leg.
It's attacking me. Shadow City came out of my brain involuntarily last year. In the in the very end of the GM Companion launch, I was going through. And this was right before it went, and I was trying to come up with like the last few tables for building out a set, like the settlement that you're building. And I was trying to think of it, and I thought of like, well, I can't put like a cyber cafe here. And then I was like, oh wait, like I could design a whole city in the 80s using these techniques. And then I was like, holy shit. And so it as soon as I started having these thoughts, like it just was a relentless tide coming out. So Shadow City has not been as commercially successful as I wish it could have been, probably because I just made it because it was purely like, this is what I want to make right now. Like, my brain is making me do this. Whereas there's other projects, like the GM Companion was much more commercially successful. I didn't like sit down and say the GM Companion chose me and blah blah blah. And that was a conscious decision, So there's all kinds of stuff that happens like that you just
Are you satisfied with Shadow City though? Like, even if it didn't perform well, is that something that you're like, I'm proud that it's
all of my children. I got 2 new puppies a couple months ago, and one of them has a little bit of a underbite. Right. And it's cute because he's a puppy, but like it's probably gonna make his face look a little weird as he gets older, a little goblinoid, but I love him to death. Like, it doesn't change anything, right? But I think Shadow City is great. I think it's great. I ran it at North Texas for an all-star.
Well, you came on. If you guys are curious, he came on this show and we talked about it, and like the way the tools you built into that for generating a campaign in the cyberpunk milieu, like I had not seen that anywhere else. How you could just quickly just create detailed, fun, interesting environment like that.
Yeah,
so like, you should check out the episode and the book just for that if you haven't already bought it.
Yeah, there's some of you guys know Lord Mattias. He has a podcast with I always call it podcast, even though we're past that time frame.
Yeah,
with Gary Lewis and Brian on Friday nights late.
Yep.
And they were sitting in the hotel. Oh, there he is. Yes,
Gary, welcome, man.
Yes, Gary, we were sitting in the hotel bar at North Texas. I was going to run Shadow City that night. I hadn't done any prep. I had Mattias get out some dice and just start rolling dice. And I rolled out 2 whole dungeons. Nice. And when we got to the table, I said, you guys can pick from these dungeons. And they picked one. And that's what we went with. Zero prep. It was all created with Lord Mattias's rolls right there in the hotel bar.
Right on, man. Yeah, I played was it Stars Without Number with those guys? Me and Jack McCarthy. It was a great time.
So yeah, I think it's great. I wish that I think there's a huge animus in the old school community for Vampire for reasons we're all familiar with. And I tried to overcome.
Are you watching Black Lodge games?
Yeah. I tried to overcome that. I tried to make the pitches as best I could. But it is what it is, you know. I can only do so much. But that's a great example. Like if you put all your time into making a huge book, you want it to be widely received and beloved. So that's how my thought process on that.
Got it.
But then after I answered your question, I just kept having thoughts about like, well, I also do it because of this reason or that reason or whatever. And so rather than like make a YouTube video by myself about it, I thought we should talk about it.
Right on. So you sent me a list, your 13 reasons for publishing content.
Yes.
I want to pay that. I probably should have paid that off. If I was a good YouTuber, I would have paid that off as soon as the video started. Match my thumbnail and my title. But we are going to talk about that, guys. It took us a long way to get there. But yeah, so reasons for publishing content. You're driving, you got just a long spell of road, and you got your phone and your thoughts.
I would just think of a reason, and I would just tell it to my phone, and it would save it on my notes, and then I would keep going. The first one was the one you used for the thumbnail.
That's right.
Necessity.
Necessity.
People
and
who
then parentheses.
People who hate what you're doing will publish anyway. So you need to publish because you don't want the people who hate you to be the only voice.
That's right.
And we were talking before the show, and I was like, this is true in all directions. So if you are a lover of the Radiant Citadel and you believe that every adventure should involve no violence, but it should involve friendly contests of feats of strength and stuff between friends, rather than any kind, you should have a fortune cookie making competition, and then that's how you decide the adventure. Then if you don't publish that, the other people who think you're an idiot will be publishing also. So it doesn't matter. You need your views to be heard. And like I'm not a BroSR guy. I know you're a huge BroSR guy. We all know this. But if you guys want to be more successful, I think you should. If you don't, the less that gets published that's towards the way you want to play, other groups will move in other directions, and it will be. For any group, this is applicable.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. There is a lot of hue and cry that gets generated on Twitter or X. Sorry, X now.
He'll always be Twitter, I think. But.
There are, Bros Are Bro blogs receipts. So there are blogs you can go back and read how they discovered or rediscovered or stole or ripped off or made up or whatever you guys want to say, the play style that they have glommed onto.
I was reading Macho Mandolph's blog today.
Right. Oh, dude's a genius. But there is something lasting about a published work that when the blog gets buried under all the new posts, or when Elon cuts off the last, everything older than 2 years ago on Twitter, right? Like there is a lot of Brovenloft that is just gone because it only happened on Twitter, and you can only hear about it by either reading the blogs or talking to the people that took part in that. But like everyone thought, well, that's just going to be there, and now it's not anymore. So, and there have been some stuff published from the BroSR angle, and I feel like those prove what you're saying more than refute it, right? So we've got Broser, Isle of War and Winter. We've got Winning Secrets.
I would also count.
Yep.
Yes.
And Umbros as well. B-Dubs.
I haven't read that one.
Oh, dude, he's good. He's good. I think it's only digital. We tried to get a hard copy, and I think he lost the file.
I've been shedding my hard copies of everything as much as I can. I made. Well,
yeah. When you got to move stuff, books are.
I'm moving. I was like, I don't want to carry these 2 boxes of books from. Like, I don't need 3rd edition D&D source material anymore. It's over.
Right on.
I don't need it.
Walker is working on one called Brodom. Also, another great. You got like 4 blogs, Walker.
His Twitter is awesome.
Yeah.
Fire Twitter.
Yeah, friend of the show. So watch out for Brodom. And then there's Rule of Thule has a sci-fi one called. Well, let me grab it. BMD.
That's a great cover.
So the stuff's out there, but yeah, it's and then I'm thinking also of John McGowan's The Living Campaign.
Yep.
The stuff that gets published is the stuff that you can hand your friend, and if you don't want to have the long conversation, right? There was this slim little pamphlet that Jeffro first published called "How to Win at D&D." That was like supposed to be a chapter of the later work that took us a while. Secrets. So yeah, sorry. All of that to say,
I was laughing at Patty. I'm sorry.
Yeah, stay on target. I need the secrets. Okay, so necessity. The people who hate you will publish anyway, and there are people that hate us that are definitely throwing their stuff out there. To your
That's
point.
right. That's what I review on my channel. So survival is the second one, that subcultures will only be maintained through rigor and discipline. And this is true whether you're talking about an ethnic or religious subculture in real life. This is true whether you're talking about people who play bridge and spades. You know, my grandmother used to get together card game groups all the time that I don't think there's, it did not pass down to younger generations. That kind of stuff has largely gone out. Bowling, it used to be way bigger. All kinds of things like that. So if you want to maintain what you have and preserve it for going forward, you have to publish it so that your works are known. Otherwise, tying back to point number one. When the history book is written, it will be written by the people who hate you, which you don't want.
Which happens really often, right?
Right. There may be a few controversial things like that within role-playing games. I will not comment on them right now. But yes, we're all aware of things like this. Okay, so
I will say, if you want the straight dope, Griff Morgan's documentary Secrets of Blackmore is Dunder Moose approved, and he's got the book Blackmore Foundations. I don't know if he's forgiven me yet for my little stunt. I hope so, but it's okay if he hasn't. I'm still a fan.
I appreciate he has great YouTube videos.
The dude rocks.
Daddy Rolled a One is also a great YouTube channel for deep dives on.
Yep.
Like I was just watching the Druid video recently where he was tracking the changes to the Druid with each edition and looking at how it evolved over time. And he does that for other. There was a one I watched a little while ago about liches, where it talked about how liches changed over time as well. So,
and my buddy Dominic Martine is also.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name.
Yep.
He's doing that. He had a Kickstarter about it.
Yep.
So
I'm anxiously awaiting that one.
Yeah, and these 1 and 2 tie up into the third thing, which is that it gives you purpose. That it gives you an identity and a self-image, that you are contributing to your community by doing these things. So when we talk about people in the community and say, "Oh yeah, this is great. Like this guy's doing great things. This guy's whatever for whatever it is." Even if you're just terribly misguided and you think that the next thing Wizards of the Coast publishes is awesome, that will be providing you with identity and self-image of being associated with Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
The people who wrote it will have the identity of being, I worked at Wizards of the Coast and I made this awesome, like in their mind, that they think it's great.
So how did it impact your self-perception once you started making stuff that people liked? Like, how did your purpose, how was that impacted?
Feel like it has made it so I have more pride in when I do have something that works really well. Like I'm proud that I made it. I've made enough things that it starts to develop a brand or a theme. People have like, I have in my books that I would never use AI for writing stuff or AI art and stuff like that. So people who really have strong feelings about that see that as part of my brain. So they'll say, like when Ear Trumpet was commenting earlier, he'll make a post on Twitter about some story about AI and he'll tag me because he knows that I am interested in those things.
Yeah.
So it starts to develop where it's not just this is my self-perception. I'm Chubby Funster. It's other people begin to create an image of Chubby. Chubby Funster believes that Chubby Funster does this, that kind of thing. And then there's a pride in that. There's a like when I went to North Texas, there was like over 30 people who knew who I was.
That's awesome.
Like some of them I only met for the first time last North Texas. I'm like having people who come up. I had people come up to me and ask me to sign their books and do stuff like that. Like that's awesome. Like that's really And the Central New York Con, run by Roger Reeves or Ribes, I'm not sure how the E is pronounced, but he's been lobbying me to come to Central New York, and it's the weekend after North Texas. So from like a work vacation standpoint, it's a challenge. So I was like, if I make like 100K on this next Kickstarter, then of course I'll come. Done. That probably won't happen, right?
100K.
No problem.
It could happen.
So, it could happen, but you never know. So I was like, okay. And so then my wife was doing something in the same room, and I just had it on my phone, and it was running when he was on live stream, and he kept saying all these nice things about me, and my wife was like, "We really should go to North Central New York." I'm like, okay, well, yeah.
That's how you get the wife buy-in.
Yeah, my wife likes hearing people say nice things about me. Like it's like, hey, we should hang out with those people. So that's the kind of thing. So this also all these points are very tightly tied together. So the fourth point is collaboration. So in the Enlightenment period in European history, they have what's called the Republic of Letters, which is that for the first time you have reliable international mail, which that seems like it's not that big of an invention. It is a huge fucking invention. And so scientists from like Italy and Germany and France and England could all be sending letters around all these ideas that they were having. So massive advancements in science because these people were able to talk to each other in a way that they never would have been able to before.
It was their internet, right?
Yeah. And so that is also a result of doing it. Because I do what I do, I've cultivated friendships with people who have different skills than me, right? So people that are better at marketing than me, people that know more about buying custom-made books rather than print on demand, people who know about shipping problems and management of that kind of stuff. I'm not good at that stuff, but I have collaboration with them. I also can see ideas published by them and go, oh, I could adopt that house rule. A lot of things that happen are a result of us talking to each other. And that could happen when you're not publishing, but as soon as you publish something, it serves as its own transit point for that collaboration, because anybody can get it.
The book opens the door.
Yeah, and it also kind of gives you I'll say veneer of, because it's probably not it's perfect image, but the veneer of competence, right? So you publish something and people are like, well, this person must know what they're talking about. And so they'll take you in a way that if you just say some random crap on Twitter, they might not care about it.
Which is what I do.
I approve of saying random crap on Twitter. I'm just saying it. I guess that's its own form of like mini publishing. But how many people do you know who go to a game and they play the game and they only really talk about RPGs to the people at that table? But if you're out there and publishing and stuff, you will get all kinds of people talking to you, reaching out. I have to turn down offers for work together on projects all the time because I'm a recluse and I don't work well with others, but it is a thing. Yeah. And then the fifth point is competition. So this creates pressure. So if someone publishes something and you go, that's crap, that doesn't really do anything. But if you go, that's crap, I'm going to publish something way better than that.
Yeah.
And then you publish something, then they go, well, I can't let this guy have made something better than my thing, so I need to make something even better than that. And that drives things along.
So would you compare it to a non-violent form of PvP?
Yeah.
Now we're back to the Broastar principles.
How many times has somebody seen something that somebody else is doing in a game and been like, I can do better than that?
Well, there's a reason at the dog tracks that they had the little electric rabbit, right? You need a pace setter. You need somebody to bring out more of you than you would by yourself. Yeah, movie guy John. Publishing is a Bronstein. And so is YouTube.
Yeah.
And I am known for my dramatic betrayals in Bronsteins.
And that ties to the 6th point, cross-pollination. So even though I might not play Bronsteins, it's not really my thing, I read and listen to what you guys publish and talk about and see if there's anything I can learn that would help me. I do that with games that I don't play. I read all kinds of stuff because there's good ideas. I think in one of my videos somewhere I said, if you can read the entire Vampire the Masquerade book and walk away with no new ideas at all for how to do role-playing games, like I guess that's true.
Yeah, Fluid says dramatic betrayals or erratic betrayals. He was my first big he was the start of my evil heel turn.
But reading these games, even if it's a game that you don't really want to run, you can get Pendragon and Ars Magica are games that I wish in a perfect world I would have the ability to sustain interest and run a long game like that. That's very complicated. I can't run Ars Magica game, but I can learn a ton from reading the Ars Magica book, right? So there's going to be people who feel that way about whatever you're doing. And if you publish, then they will be able to take some things that you wrote and go, I'm going to use that in my game. And
did you already say the 6th point yet or not? I can't remember if you said it out loud.
6. Yeah, we're on 6. Cross-pollination.
Yeah. Cross-pollination. Good subcomponents spread to other systems.
Yeah. And so there's a ton of ideas out there, right, for like how to do initiative, right? So there's different OSR clones that have different initiative forms. People come up with all their homebrew initiatives, all these different things. And the more that we put those out there, eventually people kind of refine in and go, I really like this one. But if you're not publishing your idea, like if you came up with the idea for doing phased initiative and you just put it in a box and set it down, so I'm not going to share this with anybody, then it would never have come out. Like that's kind of, so you have to publish things.
Don't harness your ideas when you could Gygax them.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes. So that is a great segue to number 7 is preservation. That authors will only have a period of time where they're productive, and then they will stop for whatever reason, because they get old, because they get tired, because they go into something else. They start paying attention more to business issues. They start doing whatever. They aren't involved in the actual writing of the thing anymore. But whatever they write down before then is going to survive, right? We still have Temple of Elemental Evil, even though there's no new material coming out of Gygax.
Yeah.
So it's there, and you're preserving it forever. And if you say, well, I don't know if I want to do this for you, maybe you only do it for a couple of years, and then you're like, I'm not going to do it anymore. But at least what you have will be preserved. I have a friend. I'm friends with Joe the lawyer, and I have a long history. I have a long history of ragging on his ass because
you guys don't seem to agree on much.
he for years he said he was going to publish this setting called Blood Island, and my son opened the door and said, "Did you say Joe the lawyer?"
Tell him Dunder says hi.
My son will sit here and listen to Joe the lawyer ragging on me on a YouTube video, and he'll take it personal, like as an attack on me. And then when I go, Joe's totally wrong and stupid about blah 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 blah, he doesn't perceive that as a problem, right? He's only perceiving it as incoming fire.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But don't make fun of my dad.
So right? Joe would talk for years about how he's going to write. I mean, it's before 2012 when he first brought this up to me, right? And still, there's no Blood Island, and for you. And then, like a couple of years ago, somebody published something that they actually called Blood Island, and then I was like, you lost it now. And only now that his YouTube channel is kind of becoming a little successful is he's like, oh, maybe I should actually publish something. And I'm like, what if you'd gotten run over by a bus 3 years ago? Yeah. All of that stuff that you had from your home game that you had written down in your notes, whatever, would have just been thrown away. How many things do we have from famous authors that got lost after they died, or their wife sold it in an auction or something? It's gone. So that kind of thing, like don't fall into that. A lot of this behind this entire list is having faith in yourself. Like the ideas that you have are worthwhile. Don't discount them just because you're like, well, I'm not as skilled as this person or that person or whatever. Look at some of the early material. It sucks by modern standard. Like you got to start somewhere.
I was in a creative writers group with a dude who was brilliant, and his stories were the strangest and most wonderful things I had read. Like he had one story that was about a killdozer, like a sentient bulldozer that would like get its owner, wake him up at night and like force him to go out and murder people. Like it would like nudge a wrench into his hand. And like part of the stories was like him having to do this, and then the other part was like him and the Killdozer like running in the surf at the beach, and like it just it was kind of like a boy and his dog story, but with this murderous Killdozer part of it, and it was just the strangest and most wonderful thing. And the guy would frequently have ideas for stories, and somebody in the group would say, "Oh, that reminds me of this story," and you could just see him shut down because he's like, "Oh, somebody already did it," and I'm like, "Dude, I guarantee they didn't do it like you would."
That's right. Yeah,
you got to get your stuff out there.
That's the whole point of my commentary on Strahd. Is like, the people who we hold up as being experts or awesome at this stuff are not as awesome as you think that they are.
Yeah. And even if yours is like something that's legit awesome, there's a concept called resonance, right? Where it's like it stands beside, it calls to mind. It doesn't have to be completely unique, right?
We're talking about a game with hobbits renamed to be halflings.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm not worried about this shit at all. Yeah. This is just part of the deal.
As Fluid says, ideas are cheap, execution is unique.
That's right. And that, a good segue to number 8, which is refinement. That by having to publish it, right? So the first game that I published was Ambition and Avarice. And I didn't include a bestiary because I was like, just use whatever monsters from D&D.
Yeah.
But because I didn't include that, people were like, well, you didn't include your own monsters or anything. That was like a big comment I got back. So then in the second one, I put in a whole bestiary, right? And doing that work made me have to think about how are the monsters going to interact with all these abilities and spells, and how is all this stuff going to integrate. You can't leave holes in it and then just hope that it all works out. You have to put it all together. Like if I put together this whole Shadow Sun revision that I'm working on, I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter in like a month and a half. And I didn't have an equipment section in the book, like people would freak out, like, so it doesn't matter whether I want to write the equipment section, like I have to write it. And there's the expectations. Once you start doing this stuff, you have to keep improving the quality of your work. You need to, it's okay to publish a couple books without a lot of editing, but you need to buckle down and start really getting good at it, making sure that it's tight. Getting this stuff together, and it's an internal motivation. Like once you start doing these things, you're motivating yourself to do it. Yeah, and it's not like somebody's forcing you to do it. You don't want your reputation to suffer because you didn't do a thing. You don't want your friends to look down on you because you didn't do the thing. Whatever other.
You don't want to be hanging under Blood Island.
Yes, that's right. Hey, drop a link in the chat for Maliki.
All right.
And so it's just that, like, there's certain things that as a writer, like, I'll get to a point and I'll be like, well, I have to do a better job than this. Is just not good enough. If I put this out the way it is right here, it's not good enough. It'll be bad for me. And so it's a major factor. And it combines with all the other factors. Like if your friend does something and you want to live up to that. If your competitor does something, you want to live up to that. You'll get ideas from you'll get ideas from your enemies and go, I have to do better than these people who hate me. So I'm going to do this. So it becomes an internal quest for it to get better. And so that brings us to number 9, which is distribution.
Well, wait. Before we get to number 9, let's take a break and talk about our sponsor today, which is your Kickstarter. I put the link in the chat for Maliki, but there's another link I have. And when you shared this with me, you shared something interesting. So this is the quick start of the revised Shadow Sun. And you said that quick start is actually the largest free Shadow Dark resource that exists right now.
Yeah, the Shadow Dark Quick Start itself is smaller than this Quick Start.
Wow.
It is very large. It has full character generation. It has tier 1 and 2 spells, for arcane and nature and psionics, which is psionic powers, not spells, but tons of content. And then there's a free adventure in the GM portion. There's a ton of tables and random generation stuff that I'm going to have even more of in the final book, but it's like enough for you to get started. So like 2 of the terrain types there's tables for, and 2 of the dungeon types there's tables for. So that kind of stuff. So you can go check it out. And this project is itself a refinement of work that I did in the past. I was like, back when I wrote Shadow Sun, the first one, I did not have the money, the skill level, all kinds of things that I have now. I could get custom art for monsters that I just like. If there was a monster in Dark Sun that I really liked, it didn't matter because I don't have stock art for that. I don't have public domain art for that. I couldn't afford the commission. But now, if there's a monster that I want, I can be like, I like the idea of this monster. I mean, not that I'm cloning it. Like, I always change things up, but like, I want a monster that looks like this, and I can go just commission it.
Yeah.
And it's really freeing. And it's not that you can't have money if you're not publishing. Obviously, you could use your own money from your job or whatever, but the publishing becomes its own self-reinforcing source of revenue. So hopefully, unless you fuck it up, don't do that. But
yeah, I've heard it said that if you want to make a small fortune in RPG publishing, all you need to do is start with a large one, right?
And that's the reason why that's true, is because people are very bad at planning and forethought of budgeting for these things. And so I spent years where I was making products with stock art and public domain art, and it would probably would have been easier for me to throw a whole bunch of money behind it. But one of the things that Basic Expert has talked about is that this is crashing down because of AI. That's why he's talking about it. Is that cost serves as a barrier to keep out people who don't take the shit seriously.
Yeah.
So if you have a half-baked idea and you go out and spend $5,000 on art for it, that's a huge cost. But if you have a half-baked idea and you just get the AI to make a whole bunch of art and you put it together into a product and put it up on drive-through, that's really easy to do. And now the market has a whole bunch of half-baked shit in it.
Yeah, and there's a natural human speed bump that you're taking the easy way around, and you may still develop skills later and look back on that and be like, it wasn't done. It shouldn't have come out of the oven yet. And now that was my first introduction to this field, is that I made something like that. That's right. That might work against some of the other points we've been talking about, especially for like collaboration and stuff. It's not a huge community. People know each other. They meet at these conventions, and if you throw out some swill that's obviously not well thought out, not professional, you may have a reputation that precedes you before you meet any of your heroes.
That's right. And there's a lot of times where this is, you can see this in other video games and TV and stuff. I use Star Wars as an example. Like, there was a time when I would have bought the next anything that Star Wars came out with.
Yeah.
And they have totally destroyed that. That now there are things that I have
just name the modules well.
Okay. Now that is the kind of forethought that I'm talking about.
Iron Man.
But like, the goodwill that people had to buy Star Wars stuff has been destroyed. And I'm at the point now where I have people telling me, no, wait, no, really, this one thing isn't a dog turd. And I'm like, I don't care.
You're like, first of all, I don't believe you. Second of all, that's not a high enough bar.
Nope. I've always been a fan of the George W. Bush misquote where he goes, they have a saying, fool me once, can't get fooled again.
Yeah.
That's where I am. Like I cannot be fooled again. It's over.
You can't be fooled again.
Yeah. So I'm going back through doing the Shadow Sun stuff. In a way, I'm kind of deleting my own kind of thing that I think isn't up to snuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I've revised a ton of things. I've added a ton of things.
Let me ask about that real quick while we're on it. You've got like 28 things up on drive-through.
Yeah.
What was it about Shadow Sun that said now is the time to come back and fix me?
It ties into Gods of the Forbidden North, which Gods of the Forbidden North has this really beautiful map from Glenn Seal, and it's fantastic. And I've been running. Yeah, there's the quote from Malachi. I've been running it every Saturday night with a few exceptions. We really don't miss a lot of sessions since last year's North Texas. So we just passed our 1 year mark.
Nice.
And the running it with this map has really taught me the way that he integrated in things with the map, which it wasn't like innovatively new or anything, but he did it. He built everything into this, working into the map in this way. I've been running it this way. I was like, man, this is really good. So many times people design a map that looks really beautiful, and it's not functional, right? So
sorry, not to get back on that again.
Exactly. So what was amazing was how functional it was. Like everything worked. It just worked. And so
get the CIA or the CSI theme.
Yeah.
Roger
Daltrey. So I was like, man, I really wish I had a map that worked like this for Shadow Sun. And I had made the map I'd make a lot of maps myself because I have a technique in Photoshop that makes these really great, looks like satellite map imagery. The problem is it uses a cloud render function in Photoshop, which makes it hard to control. You have to do a lot of hand brushing to get it exactly the way you want. And so like once you make it, like going back and being like, I need to move these mountains over here, it's like impossible. So I had made the map for Shadow Sun. It's a black and white map. It has a full continent and some islands and a second continent. It's very big. So I couldn't like go back and just make one 20 by 20 hex map or some shit, like, okay. So, but I have the money now to commission a huge map, and you can see the map on the Kickstarter page, and it is each one of the 8 regions is the same size roughly as that Gods of the Forbidden North map. So it is just a massive map. And so I'm doing kind of the opposite of what Rob is. That is a really good map. It's totally functional also. That is what makes it really awesome.
And it's got the different gangs and the different races and all that stuff.
So Rob Alderman, who did Gods of the Forbidden North, he's made one little region. It's like a subarctic region. And then he's going to make another region and then another region and then kind of stitch that together into a world. Well, I already had the world. So I'm approaching it from the other end. I'm making the map and all 8 regions and the ancestries and the classes and the equipment and the spells and all that stuff at the high end. And then over the next few years, dude, years,
a long view,
going in and making the region maps like at that same kind of level. So it's a really good adventure location, because the biggest weakness of Dark Sun, in my opinion, is that it is designed with narrative modules, which, to borrow from the meme, were all the rage at the time. Okay, so these are like Tracy Hickman style narrative modules where you're supposed to kind of go through this story path.
It's not a railroad; it's a roller coaster, but you're still strapped in.
Yeah, you don't get to really go out onto the only edition that the only kind of material that has that is the 4th edition material for it, and 4th edition is dog shit. So it's like, God damn, I can't work it. Okay, so yeah, so it's.
We do apologize to the 4 people that appreciate 4th edition out there.
I'm sorry if you love 4th edition, but so I'm like, okay, I want to make a place where you can actually go on real campaign. I'm not looking for like one-off modules. I mean, the starter module that I wrote for the quick start is like an intro module you could run as kind of a one-shot or something, but
yeah,
it's the intro module. Like, I want there to be a full campaign experience. To me, like, if you don't have a campaign experience, to me, it's like a toy. It's like a difference between a mobile game and like fucking Crusader Kings or Civilization or some game that you can just
it's a one shot.
Yeah, it's
a Halloween party.
So I want there to be like a serious campaign, and so that's what I'm working for in the long run. And so once I said, okay, I'm going to start doing the map. Like, I had never commissioned a map at that scale or from anybody. Like, it was huge. So I had to make basically a framework of all the hexes and be like, this hex needs to be a mountain, and this hex needs to be a stony barrens, and this hex needs to be a dust thing. So I had to come up with all that stuff way in advance. And now we're getting close to the actual deployment. So
yeah.
So see you later, buddy. You can catch the rest of the points later. The secret knowledge.
Patty leaves and the BLG arrives.
BLG, what's up, buddy?
Rock on, guys.
So the map is kind of the thing that kicked it off. Is I was like, I want to come up with it. I have a lot of things where I've done the map myself or whatever, and in the long run, I'd love to be able to convert all those into just really, really nice, professional-looking maps.
Right on, man. So that's kind of talking to that cross-pollination we were talking about earlier, where it's like, you see something, it inspires you, and you're like, man, I love how this works. I want to go back and make mine work that way too. So, all right. Thanks for following me on that little side bunny trail. Let's get back to the list. The 13.
Yes.
And we're on number 9. And you said it was distribution.
Distribution. Yes. So there are a ton of people who don't know you in this planet. Okay. There are people in other countries. I know this is a shock to some people.
Do you know who I am?
There are people in other countries that don't know who you are.
So I personally have over 907 subs.
Yeah, so if you publish a book, there's a chance that it may end up getting in the hands of somebody who has otherwise no conceivable possible way of learning from you about anything. So the more that you publish, the wider your reach will become with.
Oh no, it's dropping. Chubby, what did you do to me?
So the wider reach it is, the more people will be able to go, and that ties into all those things above. More people will be in competition with you. More people will be in collaboration with you. Yeah. More people will be able to contribute to your purpose. You'll be able to preserve this work in other places. Like everything works together on this.
I need to publish so I can get to 910. I think that's the goal.
That might be it.
It's achievable.
I think if you just start selling those hats, that would be.
I didn't make this hat. Michael Dale made this hat. I just bought it. I didn't even get it free. I had to buy a Dunder Moose hat. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. But that hat is also the number 10 appeal.
Hey, there we go.
Having cool stuff brings people to listen to and participate. There are so many books that we have all bought that have been absolutely terrible, but we bought them because they looked good. Like they looked really cool. So having the ability to put really cool stuff next, the art, the layout, the maps, whatever it is that you can't do yourself, being able to raise that production standard up will increase your coolness and bring more people to it. Having the original Shadow Sun map will not bring in as many interested people as this really cool expanded map.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of things cost money. It's a part of that ties into the whole thing of, you want to make sure you're spending money on something you really believe in, that you think will be successful, and so on.
Yeah, because there is a school of thought, and I think Yang An Zhao was talking about how he does it, where it's like, I want to make the thing that I would want to play, right? And that's legit. But when it comes to spending money on art and editing and that kind of thing, what if I'm weird? What if I would love something that nobody else out there is into? You know what I mean? And it's like, you can draw art that's good enough for yourself if you're making something for yourself. But when you want that mass appeal, it's kind of like real estate, right? They say, don't buy the house that's perfect for you, buy the house that's perfect for 3 out of 4 people, because chances are, and you well know this, your stage of life right now, this very minute, while we're having this conversation,
right,
you're going to have to sell that house sooner or later, unless you like buy your forever home that you're going to die in.
I sold my house, my big house with a pool, at the perfect time.
Nice.
Market went way down right after I sold it.
Woo.
So I walked away with a nice little bag of gold coins, and I put it in a locker, and I'm good to go. Okay, so now I'm in an apartment, and I don't have to worry about shit. I don't have to cut a grass. I don't have to weed whack. I don't have to do nothing.
You awesome. Just sit there and listen to the clink of your gold coins.
Right, that's right. I just rub those gold coins together. Yeah.
You need to get one of those storage lockers. It's like vertical, so you can swim in it like Scrooge McDuck.
That's right. Yeah. The chubby bucks. Yes.
It's like Shroot bucks. All right, let's keep rolling then. Number 11.
Number 11 is communication. So if you publish a thing and you come up with, say, a new term that's never been heard by anybody before, like saving throws, and then that becomes a standard term for the mechanism of doing a particular thing, then it will allow people to talk about the game in a better way. So, like I said, we're gonna have a check. Instead of saving throws, let's go with carousing from Shadow Dark. So this is a good. So he had a system where you're paying in money, you have a risky roll, you get a bonus to the roll based on how much money you put in, and there's a high chance of an XP payout. So at the end of like every time people come back to town, they're like rubbing their hands, getting ready to drop some of that money on carousing, right? Okay. Well, if you create that mechanism, then other people can use it as a way to communicate their thoughts and say, like I just did, say, we're creating a risky roll to do this. And then you can start to develop those common terms that.
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen this with the Bro Asar with Umbros and winning secrets. There's technology that the bros have used. One of the big parts of the Bronstein is Fog of War, and how do you manipulate it, right? And so the tools that they're coming up with, and they're both acronyms, but there is the Gauss system for generating rumors, which can help protect and obfuscate, but also can pierce the Fog of War in times, depending on what the role is.
Can you tell me how it works real simply?
Yeah, so basically, when you're running when you've got multiple independent actors operating in conflict under a fog of war, as they're pitching these crazy things they want to do to the DM, and this the Goss, I believe, comes from the Living Earth Gaming Club. I'm gonna get them all mixed up. But Goss, basic, and I do not remember what the acronym stands for because I've been out of the game for a bit. But basically, you roll a dice, and there's a table, and depending on what the roll is, it's either public knowledge, or there's some kind of rumor that is partially true, but you don't have the whole thing, or it could be mostly false, or it could be false to a degree where it will benefit the person that like if you're a spy and you're trying to steal an object or get some information or whatever. So there's like a variance between whether you just absolutely got caught trying to pull a shenanigan or whether some weird rumor mill spun what you did in a different direction. And that's brilliant for a Bronstein type event. And then the other one is the scene system, which this one I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Serious DM's campaign, Drakenheim, and that is a method of saying that if something significant happened outside the purview of the DM, where like two patrons got together and something happened, it didn't really happen unless you post a scene. So either on Twitter or in the Discord or something, you have to post something showing the rest, giving them a handle on what happened. And so you use them in tandem to say, we're going to reveal some of it, but the thing that got revealed may be true or untrue. And it keeps all the players, they don't just like turtle off into their own little sub bubble of the campaign. They're keeping tabs on each other, but they may be fooling each other or they may not be. Right. So sorry for all that explanation.
That's good.
But yeah, these terms, it's with the Bro SR, we've gone so far in the technology of what we're doing and how that, like you said, you start developing your own vocabulary that other people would have to catch up to even try to interact with it in a good faith way.
A lot of that comes from blogging, what you're talking about. As soon as people started really blogging heavily back in the early 2000 teens, time for like Google Plus was like 2013, I think. So kind of before that, there was a huge OSR bloom with all these different ideas. That's when like West Marches was invented as a term, and that kind of stuff. But all that came from people publishing their ideas and writing them down, right? Because we assume natively like that there'll be an internet, but like there was a time when the internet wasn't distributing terms like this. So it's a function of publishing that causes these things.
Something to point back to. I do real quick. Happy birthday, Unfiltered ID. It's her birthday today. She says, "You come a long way from the Zoom hat." I still have that Zoom hat upstairs. Did I miss a merch drop? Yes, but I did not make this. I bought it. This is the Dunder Moose. They did like a Garbage Pail Kids thing. Was it last year or 2 years ago with a bunch of the dungeon YouTubers? And this is, I mean, I don't know if you guys think that looks like me or not, but he does have way too long hair and a Hawaiian shirt and a mustache. So Timu Magnum PI.
Is that what he's holding?
Huh?
Is he holding a mouse trap?
No, he's holding my trifold pamphlet. My
okay.
My 21 flipping steps to rolling up a 1E PC.
Okay. Oh yeah. It's vertical for that reason. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
All right. Anything else you wanted to say about communication and the
No. Right. So number 12 is specialization. So what happens is if you're working a 40 or 50 hour week and you're only doing stuff on the weekends, the bandwidth of time that you have to think about role-playing games is pretty limited, right? The amount of time you have to do things. But if you can make it up to the point where you're spending your whole day on role-playing games because it's become your job, it should, in theory, allow you to focus all of your time on developing your thing. But like one of the things we've seen is we look at people who this is their job and they're doing a terrible job at it. So think of how much better you could do if you could do full time on this, right?
Yeah.
Like this. So that's butt crack button. So that's the whole point. Is like the more time that you can devote to this thing, the more time you can, for a while, kind of justify devoting to writing and developing because you're trying to build up until eventually, like hopefully, it could be your full-time thing. You could have a lot more energy to. I could make a ton more books and YouTube videos if I didn't have a day job.
Yeah. Yep.
Simple as that.
But the day job provides insurance for me, which
so
far, even with my massive audience, I haven't really hit that crossover point where I make money.
Yeah, you might need to go a little bit further.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Idiots drinking coffee. So what you guys don't realize, Kara has a mini game, which is always to crack me up on camera, and it doesn't matter if I'm doing YouTube or something professional or whatever. She just anyway.
All right. So the last one, number 13, is transferability, which you almost said at the very beginning when we were going through it. I was like, oh no. So writing things down makes it easier to communicate to new people, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have to sit down and explain what a Bronstein is to somebody, with no backup, like how much easier it'd be to just slide them a pamphlet and say, this is how it works. Mm-hmm. And once you read this, we'll talk.
Right on.
And that's how we do. Like when you bring someone into your campaign for the first time, or whatever, you don't info dump them with 800 million things. You give them a small written piece and say, this is what you need to know, and then we'll talk. Right.
It's instructional design, right? Chunk it down, just what they need in that moment, and then, would you like to know more?
So exactly, would you like to know more? So those are all the reasons I can think of why you put, why do any of this stuff. And for me, it's not like I'm not trying to get rich and do anything of this thing. I write because it's like I said, it's always an involuntary process most of the time.
It just follows you around. If you don't, you got to express it. Yeah.
So like all the stuff that was in that video I dropped yesterday about Curse of Strahd just ran through my head on that 14-hour drive at various points. Now, if I don't write it down, it just poof, it's gone. Right?
I don't know if I get this one fluent, but he says chunk it down. That's what she said.
I think there's a special joke in there somewhere that
just gotta be. I'm too pure. I'm too naive to understand your humor.
But yes, I really do think that there's a lot of people out there who are in what I call the wouldn't it be cool phase.
Yes. And I might actually be guilty of that right now. So tell me more.
Yeah. So what happens is you know these people, they're in your game groups, they're on Twitter, your Facebook, whatever. And something will come up and they'll go, wouldn't it be cool if it worked like this? Wouldn't it be cool if this guy did blah, blah, blah? There's actually like I don't know if this is a lazy DM technique or whatever, but like there was somebody who put forward a set of techniques of like wait for the players to speculate why the monsters or the villain is doing something, and then that becomes the reason. Right? Okay, so like people are just constantly trying to come up with cool ideas. They are. And
I have seen Jeffro do that when he is DMing. I have seen him just like he just looks up something. There's like a weird sounds table in the back of the DMG, and like we listened, and then he would just roll, and it said hooting, and so he would make a hooting sound, and then he thought I was doing an ape, but we were all like, well, those are owls. And then I was like, hey, is it a burrow owl? Because my gnome can speak to burrowing creatures, right? He would just wait and see what did the players get excited about, and he was like, well, of course, that's what it is, because that's what you guys are interested in. There's a high level DM technique to have the confidence to just wait and take what they give you and then let them feel smart.
But humans do that all. Humans are pattern recognition animals. We're constantly, we see shapes in the clouds, we see man in the moon, all this shit. So just wait, and next time you have an idea, write it down.
Yeah.
This is not challenging step here. So like that's why I use my phone. I just press the button and I just talk to the phone. And occasionally it screws up, but I can at least try to usually figure out what I had said to it. Like one time on one of the things that I had written down for the Strahd, there was a piece of something, and it wrote peace like War and Peace. And I was like, oh, okay, that's wrong. But like, we have all of these great tools. So write it down until you get enough stuff together that you can put things into a coherent product. But there's so many people who will sit around and just go like, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? Wouldn't it be cool? And every time they do that, the idea just floats off into the ether.
Yeah.
Nothing happens as a result. I've had tons of people tell me ideas over time the past 10 years, and I'm like, you should make it, you should write it down, do the thing. And they're like, no, I don't want to put the energy into it. And now all those things are not published. And then you look at all the terrible shit that has been published, and you're like,
it's like,
what
it's like the intellectual equivalent of an ingrown toenail in your brain.
That is not an analogy I would have chosen, but I can see where you're going with that.
So here's one. I've been writing down some stuff as you've been talking.
Yeah.
What does it take? So you have your I have my wouldn't it be cool if, and I'm taking inspiration from this conversation. I'm like, okay, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to start processing it. And from what I heard you say, the planning and the forethought is the important bit to go from this would be fun for me to this might have legs. I heard you talk about some of the first things you think about our system and trade dress. And oftentimes those things are kind of married, right? Like the rule set will suggest a certain trade set because that's how it communicates to the people who play it that this has to do with, right?
The X2 trade dress is much more complicated than the Shadow Dark trade dress.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing
is if
I'm making a Shadow Dark module and it doesn't have like an evocative black and white, somewhat inscrutable thing happening on the cover, like if it's like super Radiant Citadel pastel pinks and teals, right. The people that want Shadow Dark may not find it even because they're like, oh, that doesn't look like my thing.
We do a huge amount of filtering just based off of motifs and just very aesthetic decision making. That's very quick.
So between system and trade dress, planning, forethought, budgeting, like what order do you have a system you put them through, or is it just kind of all touching together in your brain?
Well, I personally write into the layout. So I did layout for work before I ever started doing role-playing game layout.
Yeah.
If you need an insurance booklet put together with an attractive but over 55 couple that are looking for new options to manage the risk in their life, I can develop.
I already have a role-playing game of that. It's like a horror game that takes place in a retirement village.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You heard that? It's over there somewhere on my shelf for shame.
But yeah, if you need one of those brochures made, I'm your man. But so I know how to do layout. So I just make the layout, and then that forces you to do the planning at the beginning. What are the chapters going to be?
Yeah.
What is the scope? From a business perspective, you say, what is the scope? Are you writing a whole fucking game, or are you writing a supplement on classes?
Are you writing a campaign or a weekend?
Yeah, and then you scope it out, you build the layout out to that scope, and then as you put the ideas you have into it. So all your pre-writing. So you go like, you might have a location, you're like, this needs to be the lair of the whatever boss.
The Where Cementar.
Yeah, that's whatever. And then you just put that in there. So you get all that information in there. And then as you have more ideas, just put them into the layout. Some people like sit down and they want to like write the game from page 1 straight through. Like that is not. We were talking about you earlier, Critical.
Yeah, we were talking about you earlier.
I also brought my own mustache to this party.
That's good, man. That is like, I try never to go full Brimley just because of the diabetes jokes that are inevitably to come. Having developed type 2 myself, But yeah, that thing's legit. That one almost looks like a full Nietzsche.
This is a dog toy.
Yeah.
And when
I bet it smells great.
I Febrezed it before I did this. I had the forethought. So yeah,
full Gene Wolf, go Pringles guy.
I have my little puppies that like grab it, and they've got these huge handlebar mustaches that run around the house. It's hilarious.
I love it.
Right. Yeah.
So you use the layout as kind of like an outline, a skeleton that you can put hang the meat on.
It's all about managing you, not the book. Like you need to make the process as amenable to your brain function.
I love that. Because you mentioned like long-term authors having like times when they shine and then they fall off, right? Like I think of Stephen King and The Dark Tower, the first 3 books, and then like everything after that. But there's also
I love Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
And he unfortunately was taken a little too early, but he had the foresight to leave writing and go into TV before he sucked at writing.
Before you descend into self-parody, right?
Yes. So he didn't let George R. R. Martin himself. He just left and he started making ER and all sorts of TV shows. So he did, but like I would go back when I love Sphere is one of my favorite books ever written.
Yeah.
And I went back and tried to read books from his earlier years, and I was like, oh, this is sucky. This is also not good. So like people have a period where they're doing their best possible work.
Yeah.
You know, and then they fall off. You know, James Cameron had a period where he was just putting out banger after banger.
Yeah, Aliens, Terminator 2.
Killing it.
Yeah.
And he had kids and they started getting older and he started going, oh, we need to put a moral message in this movie. It can't just be Terminators and shit.
Yeah, man, no. It
sucks.
I need Fern Gully over and over again. So but the point I was making is like in addition to the long-term one, there is a shorter version of that throughout the day. There's times when you have more creativity, you have more motivation and energy for stuff. And then there's like the times when you're just out of spoons and you just like, I got nothing. Even if I sat down, I would just watch the cursor blink because I've made enough decisions today.
This is a good, so I don't know how unique this is to me, but maybe. When I get up in the morning, I do not have good thoughts. Like my brain is just not on yet.
Like then an old Apple IIe grinding to boot up.
Yeah. Then I go through a period from about like 10 to 4 where I'm really, really productive. And then I go through a period where I'm still having a lot of thoughts, but I have a hard time like doing them. You know, like I'll have an idea, but it's not really put together really well. And I don't feel like writing a whole bunch of stuff. That's the kind of thing I just save in my phone. I'm like sitting around watching TV with my wife, and I have like an idea, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna. My son thinks he can interrupt me again, tell me that ADHD. But anyway,
that's a whole other thing we could talk about, right?
He couldn't even resist opening the door. That's how it's controlled. So that's kind of my personal process. So if I'm going to have a period of the day where, and you should sleep, should definitely sleep. But even if you don't want to do anything about it, if you have the idea, go ahead and write it down.
Yeah.
Because what will really suck is when you get like 3 or 4 days into the future and you go, oh, I had this really good idea for how to do this, but I forgot what it was. And if you just write it down, it would be. I mean, we've never had better technology for this. In human history. So
I was very active. I was doing this YouTube channel really often, at least for me. Not enough to break the 900 barrier, but doing the YouTube, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons sometimes a couple nights a week, and that's like I have not figured out a way to do that in less than 4 hour bites. Like
I'd agree with that.
it's usually for me it was the time I do my channel too. So like 8 start at 8 p.m. and then just do 4 hours. And had some family stuff come up. Had to step back from it, had to stop playing. And so I went through some withdrawals, right? I was a little frustrated. I was a little angsty for a while because I wasn't getting my outlet, and then it got quiet. And I mean, it's been great. I was there for my kids, that kind of thing. But like the nerd brain is just gonna start offering up its suggestions again, right? And for whatever reason, it hasn't been Dungeons and Dragons, although that was like the thing I was most interested in. It's been mech games like BattleTech or like Titans of Fallen Earth, right? And I just remembered playing those as a child, and what we always wanted to do was we wanted to play the Aerotech battle in space and then land the dropships, and whatever like damage was done on the way in, whatever was left was the amount of mechs that they had for the mission. So like two sides. One side had to put all their battle value up front, and the other side had to say, well, I'm going to put this much in orbit to defend there, and I'm going to put this much, this much AA guns for the atmospheric flight, and then I'm going to fight on the ground with this. And just the idea of having something to look forward to, plan, and have that whole thing. And I was reading John Lamb's Head, sci-fi skirmish scenarios. And I don't know. I just got to thinking, I wonder if I could make something that was a scenario.
I got two things to share with you here.
All right.
This is the cover that I went so far as. This is from a piece of art that I had.
Hex-Mex. Yeah.
I thought that was a cool name for a product. And then I also made this layout when I was talking to you about doing the trade dress. So this is just a lorem ipsum trade dress together to run it, right? So like I had put all these things together, and I had a whole bunch of notes on how I was going to run these things. I had all kinds of ideas for improving, in my opinion, BattleTech, because I really like BattleTech, but it doesn't handle armor deflections in a way that I like. And I played a ton of World of Tanks, which does really, really, really good with armor deflections and scouting and all these things. And so I had all these ideas of how to take like ideas from World of Tanks, ideas from D&D, and like I was going to improve. It's still sitting there as a note outline in my list of things that I'll get to one day, maybe.
Right.
But you should at least keep moving that, because even if this first idea you have doesn't work, maybe the second one will come in. Yeah. And part of it, I wrote most of a setting called Karazin, which is like an Al-Qadim for Shadow Dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the end, maybe 70%, 75% of the way. And just certain things were not working the way that I wanted them to work. And I sat around trying to, it's like a logic puzzle. You're like, if I make this rule like this, then it won't work with this other rule.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like figure it out in your head. And then you're like, I can't do it. And you might table it for a while and go do something else. And then eventually solve the problem that you were thinking about. Like when I was talking about Shadow City earlier, I had vampire ideas for a decade before I wrote Shadow City.
Yeah.
What happened was I finally saw the solution to, I couldn't figure out how to do a good hex crawl or like a dungeon crawl within the city without it getting an out of control mapping situation.
Yeah.
And then I solved that. Like that was the whole thing with the Shadow Dark method of doing the rolling the dice on the page and then drawing circles around wherever it was. Mm-hmm. And you do that. Like it solved that problem. And then I came up with a way based on that logic to do buildings on the fly in whatever size you need using a node mapping system. So I could just run all that space. And I had tons of notes going back years of all these different ideas for a vampire game. I could never make them integrate that way.
Yeah. And that's kind of part of it, right? Is like this basket of things you carry around, and while you're carrying the basket, they're squirming towards each other, and sometimes they'll hook up and connect in a way that makes some monster that rips its way out of the bag and grabs you by the face and says, "Look at me."
I'm absolutely convinced. I mean, I'm sure there's some really dumb people out there, but I'm absolutely convinced that everybody who is a consistent GM for role-playing games has at least one or two banger ideas that they've never even shared with anyone. They've never run it for their group. They just have it in the back of their mind. And if they don't write it down, it's over. It's gone. Yeah.
So for that idea, I'm leaning towards system agnostic, just a two-part scenario where it starts in space and then ends on the planet, and you have a two-part battle. I don't know, and maybe that led to me to ask my question on the Yang Yan Zhao show in the first place. I have no idea if that's just something that's in my heart or whether that's something that would please an audience. And I'm not sure how to figure that out unless you could either just make it and throw it at the wall and see what sticks, or you could do like some kind of, you could tease it and say, would anybody be interested in this? And if like you're interested enough to sign up for something, or download a quick start, or whatever, and let that be the guide. It's like, if nobody downloads that quick start, then I'm like, well, maybe mechs are played right now, or maybe there's just too much stuff already like this on the market.
Well, it's hard to know what will really kick off. And there's a humility in it. Like, I know I said earlier, like, you need to really believe in yourself, but you also need to have a humility of knowing, like, we're talking about complex market things that you cannot get. On January 1st of 2023, nobody could have predicted that Shadow Dark was going to just take off like a fucking rocket.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. It was a combination of like 8 or 9 random events that just boom, right? The OGL crisis, the way that people feel about this mechanic or that mechanic, that, like, I don't really like advantage, disadvantage myself personally. Because I'm an analytical person, I would rather just have a numerical modifier. Like, it's a +5 modifier, +4 modifier. That's fine. If you want to.
Oh my goodness. John Minervino, thanks for the $4.99, bro. Dunder, miss you and Umbros, big dog. Glad to see a new stream. YouTube was getting so boring without you. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I miss you guys too. I feel like Umbros is where it's at right now, and it's happening without me. It is a nice hat. Thank you for making it and selling it to me.
Selling it to me. Yeah. So I just think that since we look at historical events, we're like, there's no way we could have known. There's no way we could have known. So
all that being said, though, Kelsey was working her butt off.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Like, she was prepared when the moment happened, and she caught the wave and surfed it like a pro.
And I was going to say, if you don't publish anything,
you
will never catch the wave. You'll never get that, right? But you don't know, like, you might publish something and it's for mechs, and you think, well, the market's not really, there's not a lot of mechs, and people might go, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And begin word of mouth spreading it faster than you can think. I wrote a free, it's no longer up on drive-thru, but I wrote a free RPG, and because it was free, I got good artists to give me their art for free. And I did as a sci-fi game called Cascade Failure, and it was the largest.
That's a good title.
I liked that. It was a post-apocalypse sci-fi game. Like there had been a huge war where basically all of the international shipping basically had been destroyed by the war. So all these planets were just on their own with none of the supplies that they needed, and everything kind of fell out into a post-apocalypse situation. And I wrote up, and I'm probably, if I did look at it now, I haven't looked at it in years, I would be like, oh my God, this is terrible. But it got 8,000 downloads on drive-through over a few years.
Wow.
Right?
That's so amazing.
Even if you just make a free thing, like people will look at it. You know, it will get out there. And the great thing is all the people who downloaded your thing for free then become associated with your publisher account. So when you do publish something and push a notification, it will go to all those people. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like people are getting inspired by the episode. Even Shellback Bo says, I'm working on my TTRPG content to make it publishable, and I'm going to host it on my, is that Ko-fi or Ko-fi? I don't know how you pronounce that. Publish it on my Ko-fi when it's far enough along to get it up there. Probably next week. I'll make associated announcements on my YouTube channel at Shellback Bo. So rock on, Shellback, and I'm glad that sounds like your advice is hitting, Shelby. Like I'm like ready to go start typing up scenarios.
Well, I think one of the reasons why 5-room dungeon thing became a huge meta is because it's about as much work as people want to put in on it. So that like they're not buying it. They're not writing a mega dungeon. They're just like, well, do I have enough ideas for 5 rooms?
Yeah, I feel like public school probably primed a lot of people for that, right? Like when you're writing a persuasive essay, you have to have an introduction, 3 supporting paragraphs, and your conclusion, right?
That's right. And it's scary how bad it's getting out there now in the reading and writing ability. So need to keep it short. But do it, like just put it out. If you make, there's somebody who published an OSR supplement. I can't even remember the name of it. And I had downloaded, it was like a free thing. And I had it in my archive, and I had a situation. I was running an Acts 2 campaign where they had gone into an area where I didn't have anything. And I was like, shit, what am I going to drop in here? And I opened it up, and from a professionalism standpoint, rock bottom. From from an idea, it was just basically like a map with some random stuff in it, and I was like, "This is what it is," and I used it at the table. Right?
Yeah.
So even it was not I would never go to somebody and be like, "You need to play with this." It was awesome. That was not it. It did not meet that criteria. I would never brag about it to somebody and try to get them to buy it.
And yet that night it
that
saved
night,
your game.
I needed that thing, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, the things that I've done thus far, I'm not sure how marketable they are. Like, John brought up Umbros. When I was running that, this is first edition AD&D. One of my dungeons was full of goblins that were all in combat wheelchairs. The party broke in, and there was like a drawbridge in front of the main hall, and there were like 2 bottomless pits. And I thought, well, if I get them on the bridge, then I can swarm them with my, they had little spears attached to the wheelchairs. And it was horrible, man. They just started scooping up the wheelchairs and throwing them over the edge into the bottomless pit. And when they finally fought their way through, they saw this big, banner, and it was like a fundraising luncheon for the Have a Wish Foundation to end goblin polio, and juvenile goblin polio. So they threw a bunch of wheelchair goblin kids off. It was horrible. I am sure that is not
that particular.
That is not marketable. Memorable. I thought, well, if I make it rough enough, then they'll finally negotiate. But the diabolical glee on those people's faces as they just scooped up goblin child after goblin child, hurling them into the abyss. Anyway,
brutal. Yeah, I mean, I still think you should do this work, but you might want to take some.
I need another alias besides Dunder Moose.
Yes, you'll need.
Hey, after my little stunt, I got enough of a scuff on my shiny name. I need to.
Well, I can't. I think I talked about this on a live stream. I don't think I put it in the video. I did a breakdown of one of the Radiant Citadel videos or adventures, and it's horrible. But I did the video like straight face, like I was like, look at this wonderful encounter where you just don't do shit, you know. Like, it was so hard to do. I had to re-record.
There's some dwarves that are forging something and they need a muffin.
Yeah, exactly. And
Can you bring it to them in your sandal feet?
I had to re-record so many fucking times because I would start laughing. I couldn't do it. It was so hard. It took so long. But I had the idea, like, you could take these modules and use them as the basis for an invasion of the Radiant Citadel, where like people come in and they're like, you see these orcs, but they're having a bake-off, and they're like start hacking away at the orcs.
Protect our get-along gang from the murder hobos.
I remember I was talking about it with my friends on Discord in my Saturday night game, and I was like, with 5 good men, we could take this whole valley. Like, we could just take them all, kill them all. I'm like, nothing would stop us. You know,
all we need is Brigadine and some henchmen, and they are done.
So I mean, that even terrible stuff you can still use. You know, you can
right
use
on.
it in some way.
All right. Well, I feel like maybe I jumped the rails on this right here. The episode was going so well.
I feel like we're sticking the landing.
Right on. I had another question and I forgot it because I'm just laughing at the invasion of the Radiants. It's like the scene from Monty Python where he's just carving up the wedding.
Well, yes, exactly like that. But Radiant Citadel is the only adventure that I know of that's possible. Please, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's only one of these adventures where there are secret police using read thoughts, like they have like wands or something, like they can cast read thoughts like an infinite number of times.
Oh my gosh.
So they basically made like fantasy North Korea. Like, it's like, holy shit. So if you have any bad
1984 thoughts, didn't even have this.
If you have any bad thoughts on the Radiant Citadel, they will fucking kill you. You know, it's like, holy shit. It's not just action. You're judged by your momentary thoughts.
We have seen your Instagram reels. We saw what you passed on to your friend.
It's definitely a worthy place to conquer and destroy. Yes, I mean,
dwarves are kind of short.
It's terrible.
Oh man.
So that was a good idea. Let's make a place where they can read thoughts for everybody and tell them what to do.
That's probably why everyone's so polite and nice to each other, is because they're just terrified of the thought police and the Radiant Citadel.
It's like that meme where the British guy is like, I can't say anything bad. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's good. And he goes, no, I can't say anything
literally
bad. Yeah. Yes, I literally can't say anything bad.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, if you want to get in on the crazy genius that is going on with the Shadow Sun redo, here's your link. I put it in the chat if you scroll up a little bit. If you want just a taste of it, you're not sure, go ahead, download that giant quick start. Sounds like you can get a lot of play out of the quick start.
130 pages.
Yeah. So, I mean, you do not even have to wait. You can just get right on in it. And I appreciate you guys being here. Chubby, I really appreciate your friendship. I'm glad you felt comfortable reaching out to me and bouncing ideas back and forth. You have an open invitation anytime you want to come on my show. I have a blast with you, man. And
thank you very much. Same to you.
Right on. And thank you to my audience too. It's been a while since I did a Dunder Moose episode, and I didn't know if anybody was gonna show up. So we are glad to see you guys. If you, especially because I'm so inconsistent now, if you don't want to miss another one, make sure to click that subscribe button. And if you want to give Chubby Funster and I some reassurance that this went well for you, go ahead and click the thumbs up button, and we'll know that you liked it. And otherwise, have a great night. Thanks for being with us. Peace.
See you guys.